Okay, first and foremost, I apologize for the length of this video. I know it's pretty long, but I really hope that you stick to the end of this video. This interview went even better than I thought it would. Like I've told you before, when you get in these one-on-one conversations with these coaches or people that have seen a lot of success in your business, you really start to catch on to things in conversation that really shine lights onto exactly what it is that makes them successful in the business. It goes far beyond like the scripts that they put together for like YouTube content or even course material. It's like a one-on-one conversation with these people can be really revealing into what it truly takes to see success at what you're doing. This interview with Trevon went so well. He opened up about so many things that I feel like a lot of coaches wouldn't talk about. I seriously sat through and edited this entire video, like trying to look for ways to cut down the time a little bit. And I was like, I really can't. Like, the interview is that good. So I hope that you guys stay. Watch the full thing. Let me know down in the comments what you think about it. And again, thank you so much for Trevon for hopping on the channel. Please leave a like, consider subscribing. And now let's get into the interview. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Trevon, for joining me on the channel. I've been trying to get you on the channel, honestly, for a little while. There's so many questions I know people want to hear from somebody like you. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity just to give them a little bit of an introduction. I talk about your course a lot, so I want to be able to give you a chance to kind of talk a little bit about Amazon, get some of these questions answered, and just give people a little bit more of an insight into the mind and the brain of somebody who has seen a lot of success in this business. So thank you so much for being on the channel.
No, of course. I'm honored that I'm obviously here. And I think we did a video probably a year and a half ago or so, and you came on my channel.
Yeah.
And there were comments saying, "Oh, Tyler is almost better spoken than Trevon, and we want more
Did
Tyler."
they say
So
that?
I'm not really anything that special. I know you obviously are light years ahead of where I was at the phase that you're in. So I'm honored to be here for sure.
Dude, I appreciate it. It's been awesome. This has been an awesome journey, honestly. I would not be doing anything that I'm probably doing right now if it wasn't for you and just the random happenstance of like taking your course. And because I didn't know you before I took your course. I literally signed up, had no idea who you were. I don't even know if I knew that we were from the same state. So kind of just like a cool coincidence. And now having the opportunity to have worked with you in person, it's been an awesome experience. But so I got to start off with the first question that, and I try to not keep it like the typical question because you've answered the question on your channel. I know so many times of, how did you get into the business and, what made you, start an Amazon FBA business? What's a success that you've seen? And I wanted to attack the question a little bit differently because people can find that answer on your YouTube channel. But when it comes to the business of Amazon FBA, have you been in it for what, 7 years now?
Yeah, it's almost coming up on 8.
Coming up on 8 years. So after looking back on that 8 year time span, what has kept you in the business this long? Like, why do you stick around? Why do you still do it every single day?
The simple and straightforward answer is it works, and it has worked, and it's continuing to work. And I'm not going to deviate from what's working. And then just a little bit more, I guess, larger explanation. If you look at the growth of e-commerce year over year, if you look at Amazon year over year, they just continue to grow. People are getting lazier and lazier, and they want their products in one day. Now, sometimes people are complaining if they're not getting it within the same day. People click a button. It's so easy. They trust Amazon. I don't know if it's the same exact stat now, but I know at one point, for every dollar spent online, 50 cents was spent on Amazon. So if they're taking up 50% of online sales, that's ridiculous. And for me, that's a company that I want to be a part of, and I want to be able to take my creativeness. I want to take my, I guess, skill set and deploy it on Amazon. And from there, the options are endless. And that's what people don't quite understand is like when you learn this skill set to sell on Amazon, it carries over into every single thing that you do inside your businesses and future businesses. And it's just such a valuable skill set. And so for me, it's allowed me to be able to really build sustainable brands and companies that are not just these fads, that are not just around for a couple weeks, a couple months, where like there's a lot of businesses where people are just trying to make a quick buck overnight. They ride this phase for a couple months, or let's say even a year, and then it's like, oh, I rode the wave. And it's like, no, this wave has been riding for the last 8 years. And so for me, I'm going to continue riding that wave as long as I can. And I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, all it really takes is somebody to look at their own Amazon account and just how many orders they've made over like the past week or month. And it's like, try to tell me this business isn't working when you look at your phone and you've probably purchased at least like 1 to 25 things over the past month from Amazon, and you're buying from sellers just like me and you. This one made so much sense to me because I was that consumer too. Like I could visually see who the consumer was. And I was like, okay, that makes sense because I know that there's buyers for these products. So I think in your position, sometimes even in my position as a smaller creator, I think I get a lot of questions through like YouTube comments or emails or DMs and stuff like that. And I'm sure you get 50 times as many. And one of those questions is, how do you know what products to launch? And that's kind of like a loaded question. There's a lot that goes into that. But in your opinion, what is the difference between a good, successful product and a product that you can just tell is going to fail instantly?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. And obviously, why majority of people fail on Amazon. One thing to really look at is you need to think from a customer kind of mindset. And what I tell people, and this is what I tell my students, and this is what I recommend, is go buy your top competitor's product. Buy it and order it. And they're like, oh, I don't want to spend $50 on my competitor. I was like, no, just buy it. Like that's part of the business. Like you have to be willing to invest. So
Product
part your credit card,
research.
buy a product. You're doing some R&D, research and development. And when you get that, you're going to feel and touch it, and you're going to see the entire experience. You're going to be able to look at their packaging. You're going to be able to analyze their listing. You're going to see, okay, what are they doing and why are they successful? From there, when you go out and create your product, you need to be able to say with 1,000% assurity and with confidence that my product is better. And what I like, and I guess this would be like a little test that you could do. Obviously, you're going to be biased about your product because you've researched it, you've gone through the process, manufactured it, but go give your product, two of them. So you have your competitor's product, you have your product, and give it to a friend, family member that doesn't know which product is yours, and say, hey, which one would you buy and why? And if they're saying they're buying the competitors over yours, well, that's a good sign that your product is probably not that good. And I see so many people that are like, my product's not selling on Amazon. And then I look at it, I'm like, well, yeah, no, duh, it's terrible. Like, why would I, like, me being a customer, I'm not going to buy it. And if the customer, and if you yourself aren't willing to buy the product, then probably other customers are not going to be buying the product. So putting yourself in the customer's kind of shoes and looking at it from that standpoint is like really important. So that's kind of one test to look at. But the biggest kind of key component to, I guess, a winning product is, hey, you've got to find a product that has good demand. People are searching for it. You guys hear it time and time and time again. Find a product with high demand and low competition. And that's really what it is. But there's a little bit more to it than just that. And again, this is where people go wrong, is they're like, oh, I found the product that fits that criteria. And then they just go order some random product, but they didn't do that first test of actually finding a product that's better than their competition. And so that's kind of that second part to the equation is, okay, you've got the high demand, low competition, but what makes your product different? What makes your product better? How are you improving it? And if somebody orders your product and your competition's product, like which one are they going to say is better? And that is something that's very important. And I just feel like a lot of people take those shortcuts and they just think that, oh, I can just go slap a logo on any product, throw it up, and boom, it's going to basically sell itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's funny that you mentioned that. On my channel, I do focus a lot on branding. Branding it seems to be, in my opinion, kind of the way Amazon is going. It seems like Amazon is kind of giving more breaks or more perks to brands that take themselves more seriously. And in the beginning, in my opinion, from what I can see, it felt like that wasn't so much how the game was in the beginning. Like 2017, 2018, Amazon FBA was kind of, you could probably get away with a little bit more of just like sticking your label on something and putting it on Amazon. And that leads me to my next question, which is, from somebody who's been on the platform that long and selling, how have you seen Amazon FBA as a business change over these past like nearly 8 years? And where do you see it going?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said. Back when I first started, it was definitely like you didn't have to think as much about the uniqueness of the product, the brand of the product, and you could literally just kind of throw something up and you could get lucky and it could just go crazy. Where now there's not as much luck involved. It's more skill. And you have to actually understand the strategies. You have to actually understand what is going on in the background. And if you don't have that skill set, well, you're going to get beat out by somebody that does have that skill set. Where again, early on, 2017, there wasn't as many people that were as savvy as what we are now. And that's just kind of the nature of business. We're always evolving, we're always improving, and that's just how life is. And to be honest, that's what we should aspire for. Like if we're not getting better, if we're not improving, if we're not getting smarter, then like what are we doing with our lives? And so definitely it was easier in a sense of like you didn't have to think it through, and people could get, I guess, luckier, where now it's like there's not as much luck involved, it's more skill. And that's not to say that there's not still opportunity. It's just it means it's that much more important to actually get that skill set, to learn from individuals that have walked the path and see what they're doing and then replicate their success and turn it into your own success.
It's crazy to, I mean, just think about really what it takes to to be successful in the business. I like that you said that I mean, you're way more intentional, it feels like now, about the business. And it's not so much of a, not that it was like a get rich quick scheme or anything in the beginning, but it was, you got to be way smarter and you got to actually have a strategy. And I say on all the time on my channel that it's like, if you really don't have a passion for this business, you really won't see success in it. Because I initially attacked this business like a 2017 mindset where it was like, okay, if I just get some products up and I put a label on them and I put them out there, data tells me that people are going to buy this thing. And there's a couple products that, I mean, that you know about because I talked about them with you and met, I think, almost all of them. You told me probably not to launch, but I did anyways, thinking that was like, the data's there, they'll sell. And they didn't. And so that can be a very frustrating experience for a new seller. And I think what takes them out of it a lot of the time. But when you actually put in the effort and realize it is a business, and you put yourself in the shoes of the customer and think, like you said, like, would I actually even buy this? And if the answer is no, then you could probably count on that product not being quite as successful as you would hope that it would be. So with those kind of people in mind, because I know you've seen so many of those people come through where they start and then you don't hear from them like a month later or 2 months later, or after their first product launch, they just kind of disappear. What is the difference in mindset, do you think, between you and those people, or somebody who sees success in the business versus somebody who kind of fades off?
Sheesh, that's a really, really good question. I'm going to see if I can articulate it in the way that I want to, because as cliche as it sounds, like you hear successful business people, oh, it's all about the mindset, it's all about this, and like you're like, what are you even talking about? Like that doesn't make any sense. And I look back on like my journey, and it's those pivotal moments of whether you're going to throw in the towel or you're going to put in that extra effort to actually do what's required to see success. And that's just the reality of why people don't, is when things get hard, when things aren't going as they planned, when they're not making $1 million in the first 2 weeks, they're like, it's too hard. I give up. And it's like, you know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And if it was easy, every single person would be a business owner. But the reality is being a business owner requires a lot of grit, requires a lot of discipline, requires a lot of balls and just, I'm going to go for it type thing. Just a mentality that's like, it's brutal and it's going to be hard. And that's just kind of the reality of starting a business. And it does not matter what business it is, but I would say majority of people coming into it, they have maybe expectations of it's going to be something that they're going to see immediate success. And I've been saying this a lot on my Instagram and YouTube of, I did a research study. I looked up like how long does it take the average business to be profitable? And it's like 1 to 2 or 3 years or something crazy like that. And so when people come in and they throw in the towel after 3 weeks and they're like, "Oh man, product research is so hard. I've been doing product research for 2 weeks now and I haven't found a product." And I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. Like 2 weeks is nothing. Like if you've known what I've gone through the last 8 years to get to where I'm at, you would have given up the first day knowing what you needed to go through. So like you just have to expect and understand that it requires a lot of effort. And like if you have this no quit mindset, that's where you are going to succeed. And then I tell people the first thing that you just need to do in that mindset shift. And again, as many times as you guys have heard it, like you got to have this success mindset and you got to do all this stuff. And it's like, wake up at 3 a.m. I don't necessarily believe in that, but like you need to first start with, I know I can do it and I can do it. Because as soon as you say you can't, you're right. As soon as you start having those doubts of like, like I'm failing. And it's like, no, you can't have that mindset. And again, I've seen it with thousands, probably tens of thousands of people at this point, of just people that are like, yeah, I just throw in the towel. And it's like, it's been 2 weeks and you're already quitting. Like that's just not, if you want success, that's not what you need to do.
It's a crazy mindset. And the what's funny is like the internet kind of conditions us to feel that way. I think sometimes when, you see the typical like screenshot of like this person, was making 10 grand a month after, 2 months of working on this business, or they became a millionaire in their first year. And it's like, those cases are there and they're true and people can strike gold. Absolutely. Like I've seen and I met some of the people even in this course that do that. But obviously they're not the majority. Like that's not everybody that starts an Amazon FBA business. That's not me. And I'm not a millionaire. I've been at this business for over 2 years. So it's that those experiences are there to, I think, show that it is possible. But I think just as importantly, it's important to realize that in order to see success in this business for the majority of people, it takes what you're talking about. It takes like the drive and the determination and the belief in yourself that you can get to that point if you work hard enough. And that's the majority of people, I think, is that it's more about a stick-to-itiveness and an attitude of like, I want to learn to love this business and get good at it rather than just striking gold off the bat. Those are awesome to see. Those give, people a lot of motivation, but it should be motivation directed towards getting really good at the business to see what is possible. And I will say, having known you for the past couple of years and spent time with you in person, like to people on my channel, there's nobody that believes in Trevon more than Trevon, which is funny to say because I hear you talk about stuff that you're going to do. And so when I talk to people about you, I'm like, it kind of seems like everything he does just like everything he touches turns to gold type of thing. And it's not because you get lucky. It's because you honestly believe that you're going to be successful at that thing. And then you do it, which is less about luck than it is about your determination and belief in yourself.
I love that. I appreciate that. And 100%, like it's amazing. Like I feel like I can almost speak things into existence.
Yeah.
There was a time, and we need to go back to it because like my wife and I, at one point we would just wake up and we would talk and we would just say everything goes our way, and we would just say, and we just ingrained it into our head, and we say we have it, everything goes our way, and we're gonna do like, and you just like speak it, and if you say it enough, you're gonna start believing it. And again, just that little tiny belief is all that you need in order to really kind of make that first move and then take that massive action. And then one thing that I do want to kind of point out is the topic of the definition of success. And I see this with a lot of people and a lot of students and a lot of people that sell on Amazon. We talk about the outliers of people making $1 million or doing like their first product. Like we had a student, his first product, I think he did like $250,000 with one product. Like those are definitely those particular outliers. And what happens is new sellers or sellers that launch a product and let's say maybe it only does 5,000 a month. They compare themselves to this individual or they can compare themselves to me and they immediately are like, I'm a failure. I suck. This isn't going as planned. And they quit because they think that they're failing. And I'm like, dude, your business is doing $5,000 a month. All you need to do is duplicate that, what, 3 or 4 times, and boom, you're there. So like that's another thing that like I want, and I've tried to make a few videos and help people realize that like everybody's gauge of success is going to be different and you can't really compare yourself to other people, and if you do it's only going to hurt you. And then one other thing to this point, it happened in our Facebook group. This one guy basically made this post and was like, hey, I want to basically like I want to see success stories. I want to see if this actually works because I don't know. And I'm like, if you need to hear success stories in order for you to give yourself
The permission. Yeah.
permission, give yourself the permission to go out and start a successful business, you're setting yourself up for failure because you can't rely on somebody else's success to carry your success because that's just not how it works. Luckily we got a lot of people chiming in and like, hey, we had success here and there. But I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, if you're really just looking for success stories for you to have the permission to be successful, that's the wrong mindset, period. And so don't compare yourself. Like there's a lot of takeaways from this, but anyways, that was just another point that I wanted to point out.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of the questions I get too, or that I hear about that's kind of the opposition about starting this business is how time intensive people think it is. And there's kind of like a dichotomy with that because on one hand, there's people saying like, well, it takes no time at all. Like you could do this in like an hour a week, which isn't necessarily true in the beginning. But then there's like people that are like, oh, you got to put in all this effort to make this happen. And I think both of those things are true at the same time. It's like, it kind of depends where you're at and how good you are at the business, and then how many things you have set up and automated. And with the introduction of AI into this business, I think it's just going to get more and more automated. But at the same time, marketing, in my opinion, can't quite be automated yet. You can't give a brand a voice through AI yet. So from somebody who's been doing it for a long time, how much time do you spend on your Amazon FBA business? Because I know you're doing 100 things at once, but how many hours do you think you spend on your Amazon business per week? And what percentage of your business do you think is outsourced or automated?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question. And I wish I mapped out my time schedule a little bit better because I'm all over the place. It'd
Yeah.
probably be really beneficial for me to map it out.
Yeah.
But I will say in the very beginning, it was very, very different than what it is now. And that's what people need to realize is going into the business and learning something from scratch. It's going to require a little bit more effort than, for example, me that has been in the business for 8+ years type thing. And so when I first started, it was go to my 9 to 5 job and come home and basically binge watch videos, read, study, take action, implement. And I would do that basically every day. And I did that every day for basically 6 months. And I really understood, started to learn, and started to just really grasp the concept. And what was cool is once I got to the point where I could quit my 9 to 5 job, I had so much free time available, because once you do get things going and launching, and you understand the process, you understand how to find a product, you understand how to source products efficiently, you understand how to create listings, you have your product photographer lined up that knows what you're looking for and what you're after. You already have your brand built. So like there's a lot of things that you build once and they're built, and you can just literally put it through the funnel over and over and over, and it's just a rinse and repeat model. And so that's what allowed me to have the free time to start doing some other business ventures and start the YouTube channel and do basically everything that I'm doing. And to answer your question of the kind of where I'm at now, I mean, I've got probably one too many businesses, to be honest, which is fun and it's entertaining, and there's always something new every day. But when it comes to my core, like my Amazon FBA brands, I have two main brands. And these brands, and you know the brands, they're not just like I'm running TikTok, I'm running Shopify, I'm running Amazon, I'm trying social media. Like I'm doing like a lot, and it's just me basically. There are things where I'm outsourcing. I'm outsourcing photography. I'm outsourcing sourcing. I'm outsourcing listing creation. I'm automating PPC. There's a lot of things that are systematized. And again, once you build it once, you can really kind of just automate it. And so to answer the question of how many hours a week, or we'll just say a day, I'm probably spending it, give or take. Some days it might be more, but I would say on average 30 minutes to an hour a day on my Amazon FBA brands. And to me, that's not that much time when I look at what I'm able to produce in that short amount of effort. And it's all because I have this skill set, I have the systems, I have all the processes in place. And it's as simple as just kind of a rinse and repeat model. And that's what's cool about it is you put in the work up front, you build the machine once, but once the machine is built, then all you need to do is just feed the machine.
And I have to say the the blueprints to that machine, shout out to the course, are all in the course. Like somebody who wants is kind of seeking after like building that machine that Trevon's talking about, like it literally is like a machine. It's like a system of operations that you go through to launch these products. And yeah, it takes some time to figure it out in the beginning and to get things set up, but you really can get to this point where, which I think is really unique about AMC Champions, is that blueprint is all laid out and you go through it a couple times and then it's like it just gets easier and easier after every time you do it, which is really cool. And another thing, just to point out, one thing that you mentioned that I really liked was um it's funny how much time you all of a sudden realize you have when you become really passionate about something. And when you stop wasting so much time with other things and saying I don't have so much time, but it's like you waste time in so many different ways. Whereas as soon as you find something that you're passionate about, it's funny how all those things just get pushed to the side and you have so much time to focus on this one thing. I don't know. It's just I guess the pushback against I don't have enough time is funny when people
It's all
really
about your
address how much time you have.
priorities.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's priorities,
If
100%.
if you really want something, you'll make it happen. And I've seen that. Like if I'm passionate about something, if I'm into golf, or if I'm into fishing, if I'm into working out, if I'm into building a business, like again, if that's my priority, I'll make it happen type thing.
Yeah,
So we're all
absolutely.
busy. You have kids, I have a baby, and it's like,
Hmm.
dude, we're all busy. Life is busy, but like we all have time when it really comes down to it.
The question I get a lot, and you probably get a lot, is how long does it take you, Trevon Peterson, to launch a product now? And what is the cost incurred by launching that product on average? Because I know it varies.
Yeah, so I mean it's subjective on the product itself, and it ranges from product to product. There are certain products that, I've launched in a span of less than a month. I found it, reached out to the manufacturer, and I was just boom, 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 boom. And a perfect example was during COVID. things went crazy and I found this opportunity. I'm like, I need to launch this product, and I didn't care what I needed to do. I ordered it and I had it live within like 3.5 weeks. So like obviously that might be an outlier. But there's another product that I'm launching. I'm hoping end of the month or beginning of next month. It's been almost a 9-month process. Um, but it's been a kind of a passion project. It's been something that I've really taken my time on, and it's basically a new product that's like new to the space type thing. And I'm putting a lot of time and effort into the R&D and making sure that the manufacturer is doing exactly what I want. So I mean, you take a spread from 3 weeks to 9 months, but on average, I would say like you can get a product up. And again, it depends heavily on the product, how big, how complicated the product is, if you can airship or not. But I mean, you could technically do it anywhere from, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks. We'll just say like 2 to 4 months is very reasonable. But again, there are going to be times where it might be a little bit longer, and that's okay. And then there's going to be times where it's a little bit less, and that's okay. But I would say that's kind of the timeline, which it might sound like I'm beating around the question. Oh, 3 weeks or 9 months. It's like, yeah, it
It's
could be
true.
anywhere in
It
between
could
there.
be
And
anywhere in
honestly, it
between.
could be longer,
Yeah.
to be honest, depending on how complicated it gets. But again, don't let that scare you. Like people are like, oh, it's so long, like 3 months in order to start a business. That's so long. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like think long term. Think like this 9 months that I spent building this product. And if it goes the way that I want it to, that product is going to be printing me money for hopefully 10, 20, 30 years. Or if not, I sell the brand in, let's say, 2, 3 years, and I cash out fat because of it. So that's kind of the long term mindset that you have to be. And then in terms of budget and capital in order to start, it heavily depends on the price point of the product, how big the product is, and different things. But I would say a $4,000 to $8,000 budget, you can launch a product. I tell people, I'm like, look, if you want to get coaching, if you want to do things right, if you want to go through the process, 5 to 10 grand is going to be a really good kind of solid budget for you to get up off the ground and running.
Awesome. Yeah, I 100% agree. I like I said, I talk a lot about the course on my channel. I give it a lot of praise, and that doesn't come like lightly for me because I've tested so many courses. My last video I just put out was about how many courses, online courses I've actually taken. And I love this course for so many reasons, but I want to hear it straight from the creator of the course. What do you believe sets your course apart from all the other Amazon FBA courses? And why did you even decide to do a course in the first place?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll start with that. I started because I saw that there was a massive hole in the market, and the individuals selling courses were not actually in the trenches and doing the business themselves. And the things that they were teaching were outdated. And I was like, hey, like, I want to be an actual person in the trenches doing what I'm teaching. And that's what sets me apart. And that's why, like, if you go and look back 7 years ago, the people making YouTube videos and selling courses, they are not relevant. They are no longer, and they're not even in Amazon because they didn't actually build a legitimate business themselves, and it wasn't long-term sustainable. Where I like, this might be a bragging or bold claim, but like I've been in the space almost longer than all these self-proclaimed gurus for that exact reason, because I've actually built the business, and you can't fake that. You just can't.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And like I said, I do say it all the time too, but I know that for a fact. Like I've been to your house. You've been nice enough to invite me as well as like other AMZ champions into your house for the retreat. Like I know your business mindset, your lifestyle. I've seen a little bit into the back end of your business, and there's nothing more legitimate, which, is the reason I stick around and continue to like talk about this program, because I believe that people can be that successful if they know the right places to look. So, final question, Trevon. Again, thank you for being on the channel. But what is next for Trevon Peterson over the next year? Looking ahead, business, life, what do you have going on? Tell the people what's happening.
I'm launching more and more businesses. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Shocker.
That's just how I am at heart. I love the process of starting something from scratch and seeing the progression over time. There's nothing more fulfilling for me than seeing something that I built and to then grow it to something. I love helping people. I love seeing people succeed in it. Does not matter the business. I love seeing people really break that paradigm shift or that mindset block and get through it and really just open their eyes to more perspective. So new businesses, just launched a software company, which I'm super excited about. So software is going to be a big focus. We've got a lot of good things going there. Doing a lot of TikTok. So selling on TikTok, TikTok Shop affiliates is an incredible opportunity. And what's cool is all of these things go hand in hand with selling on Amazon. Once you have this skill set of selling on Amazon, it opens up the door to TikTok, to eBay, to Shopify, to Instagram, to YouTube. Just announced that they're going to do some like TikTok shop type thing on YouTube. So it just opens up the door to so many opportunities. And so that's where I see myself, is taking advantage of these awesome opportunities that are right in front of our feet. And you just need to be willing to grab the bull by the horns and just go for it. And that's what I hope to do, and excited for the future for sure.
Awesome. Dude, Trevon, thank you so much for being on the channel, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome.
Okay. See you, man.